So bladder contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. Mm-hmm. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the verumontanum.
That's how I would have said it.
The testes are unremarkable. That's the last thing I want anybody to say about my nuts. I want them to say, wow, what a great pair.
Great body, but the nuts are
unremarkable. Unremarkable.
So here is some sort of discussion between him and someone.
Okay. The guy says exactly, not clear what effects hormones might have on that aren't replaced by testosterone. The advantage of taking testosterone, there are two different things. You can have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? And then Epstein says, correct.
And then at the bottom, they show another document.
Hold on. Let me keep going there. Yeah. So that's an extreme example. I was actually going to try and move up one level, sort of drug-enhancing life. If you don't mind it, he doesn't mind it. I'm sort of outer space thinking. Oh, so he's trying to juice up. So he's saying I'm moving up one level of sort of drug-enhancing life. I don't know what I think he means. He's going to start juicing. That's what it sounds like.
So he doesn't have a prostate?
Doesn't have a prostate, it says.
There's another document that says something about it. After a radical prostatectomy.
Prostatectomy.
So when they take out your prostate?
But that doesn't necessarily say he had his. I think it's a document.
But he said he doesn't have a prostate, and it says patient Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And it says, according to the American Urological Association, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable levels after radical prostatectomy.
And there's other documents where
prostatectomy.
He's contacting doctors that specialize in that very thing.
Okay, so the doctor saying he had a radical prostatectomy, he's saying he does not have a prostate, but yet the body from the autopsy talks about the prostate is slightly and diffusedly enlarged. So that's not his body? That's what it seems like.
I don't buy
that?
I don't buy he's dead. Why would you?
Right. I don't buy he's dead either.
Here's the other.
But, however, hold on.
This is from a attorney. So this is like assistant United States attorney or something.
So the OCME told me it signed a confidentiality agreement in connection with the investigation into the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
So that's almost 6 months after he died. They're asking for a document about the investigation of the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
Was that because there was accusations that it was a murder?
I don't know.
We talked about this before, that 18 days before he allegedly committed suicide, he complained that his cellmate tried to kill him. And you know who his cellmate is?
Who?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
I'm Kurt Metzger. You don't know? Oh, you don't know? His cellmate was this gigantic cop who was a murderer. He'd killed 4 different drug dealers. Yeah, he was a contract killer. This is the guy. That's his fucking cellmate. Look at that gorilla.
That's a silverback.
Yeah, dirty cop, murderer. And then they said, most high-profile witness of all time, defendant of all time. Let's put him in jail with a murderer. A guy who contract kills. Dirty cop. And then he says, the report was they found him unresponsive with a noose around his neck or an orange jumpsuit turned into a rope around his neck. And then he said that his cellmate tried to kill him.
My question, does anyone really believe he was in a jail cell? Because I know if I had the guy that can unravel entire government dynasties and take down an entire system, the last thing, dude, he's somewhere about 3 miles underground with maybe a ball in his mouth with electric rods. Or
he's in Israel sipping Mai Tais.
Correct. Either place, it's like, that video you said, you sent this on a runaround. We're going to ask you one more time, or then we're going to laser off your nipples. I'm telling you right now. We need.
Yeah, I doubt they're doing that to him.
So he's either in Israel, like you said.
If they had that, they would just get rid of his body. They just
You saw the picture of the so-called that was him in Israel.
I think that's AI.
I think it's AI too. That's a scary thing with AI.
I think it even had a little AI watermark on it. The one I saw, at least. But who knows? It could be a real picture that someone put through AI to put a watermark on it so that people could go, "Oh, it's AI."
Right. You don't know.
Do you see the lady that they say looks exactly like Ghislaine
Yes.
Maxwell? I don't
Yes.
think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell. I think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell 20 years ago.
It was a deep fake.
It's a deep fake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sam Tripoli reposted the guy that made it. He made
that's
another video too that was
crazy.
not as good, where he's like looking at Benjamin Netanyahu on the street. It's not
I feel
nearly
like
as good. But.
the problem is the aging. She doesn't look aged. She looks younger.
Yeah.
But I
She
guess
looks pretty,
that's
too.
what happens when you get out of jail.
And you get more attractive.
Yeah, you get food. You
Right,
get
sure.
sunlight.
Makeup.
A little exercise.
Taking some yoga.
Yeah, is there any video of him in jail? Are there any photos of him in jail? I've never thought about that before, but what you're saying is a good point.
If let's say you were the person that had all this incredible information around the world, bribery, do you really think you take drug lords? You're not killing them. You need the information, so you're going to bring him somewhere. You're going to milk him to it, however that is. Whether he's tied up, you're going to torment him. Be like, listen, I'm telling you right now, we're going to take care of you. However, I need to know. You say there's tapes, right? Yeah. Where are the tapes? Write them down. And you're going to stay. Don't feed him. Don't feed him until we get that one tape and we have these names in our hands. And that's probably been going on even for months, for years. You're not taking someone like that and going, oh, we're just going to put this very valuable human being into a jail cell where
With a multiple murderer,
with
was
two
a
guys
contract
making
killer
$18 an hour are going to watch him.
who are sleeping
Like, come on, stop.
when the cameras are down.
Stop. They pre-production. All right, so let's get the green screen and we have him walking in here, sir. Does that look somewhat? And then we can release it down the road. It's processed Hollywood nonsense. I don't buy it.
Okay, this is assuming, though, that he was working on his own, that he had all this information. So if he's not working on his own, he's working for an intelligence agency, then they have that information as well. So along the way, so there are no secrets that he's holding. They have all the secrets. This is much more likely. So in order for him to be in the position that he was in, allegedly, working for intelligence agencies, working for either the Mossad, the CIA, or both, all the above, I would assume that along the way, all of the information was shared. I do not believe they would let one person have access to all that information and store it themselves. I think they would have access to it at every step of the way. They would communicate with him at every step of the way. And they would probably have, if I was running a government agency like that, I would say, tell me what's going on. What do you have on Bill Gates? What do you have on Les Wexner? What do you have on these guys?
Yeah.
What are they willing to do? What about these scientists?
Yes.
Are they willing to fill bogus science papers out? And what can we do? Jeffrey Epstein stashed secret files in storage unit across U.S. that may include never-before-seen evidence. Oh.
So this came out yesterday that when he got arrested, he supposedly paid for investigators to go round up all of his stuff and put it in various storage units across the country, like it's a wild goose chase now. And like there's stuff apparently maybe no one's ever seen. They don't know if they're still being paid for. They don't know if
Imagine if they found, you know those storage unit shows?
Exactly.
Where they break into those storage unit shows?
I don't understand.
And it happened on the real time one.
Right.
Like they
Could you
think they're
imagine?
just getting like old baseball
I
cards.
heard those shows are bullshit. A friend of mine told me that what they do is they'll stock those shows, they'll stock those storage units, and then they pretend that they're buying the storage unit that's been abandoned, and then they get in there and then they find things. But those things were,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
you.
I don't buy any
That's-
reality TV.
I know, but that's awful.
Well, it's entertainment.
I feel duped.
Do you really?
I do.
Joe, you really thought
That's the thing
once
that
in a while
bothers
you
me.
thought it was real?
Not the government corruption, not all the Medicaid fraud, not all the immigration fraud, not all the ICE stuff. No, what really bugs me is lying on a storage unit show. I just can't.
Or like like a cash cab show. Like, are they really contestants?
These
Or
are our
they-
great distractions. These are the great distractions to keep us from paying attention
Yes.
to what's really going on in the world.
The reality TV. There's no reality. It's all well produced. Joe, wow.
How much is it well produced? Here's the question. Is it really well produced? Because it seems like this one was a really shitty production job.
That was production. That was like low. The only guy making it is the guy that's selling the ads.
Well, not
He's
just
crushing.
the guy who's in charge of it fucks kids, right?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if this one, why would you let that guy who's going to eventually get caught? I would assume if you have a thing for kids, you have a thing for if you're a pedophile, if you're into like 14-year-old girls, I would assume you're going to get caught. And if I had a guy like that, or was this at a time where you couldn't get caught because there was no internet, and then it got to a point where he had so much power and control because he'd been there for so long, they were like, oh, Jesus Christ, we got a problem.
Well, he's think of it. The criminals, they never think they're getting caught, period. Especially, like, think organized crime. If you're, it's no different like the scenes from Goodfellas, right? You come in, it's like, what's the matter with you? I told you, what? You show up with a pink Cadillac? What's the matter with you?
Right.
What's the matter with you? They can't help it. He told everyone, don't
Spend the money.
Don't look flashy. This guy, without a doubt.
His wife had a mink coat on. Remember that?
What that shit? Right. Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
He gave it to me for my birthday. Take it off. What's the matter with you? And now that guy, this guy, he's just remember when the steroids came out in baseball?
Uh-huh.
And what they do, they were like, listen, you got to take a hit. You got to take a hit. Mark, Barry Bonds, you guys are going to go out. We're going to front you. But don't worry. You're going to stay in baseball. We'll it'll go away in about 10 years. But the owners are not going to get popped. The people making the steroids injected the people aren't going to get popped.
Well, they got popped. Balco got popped.
No,
they got
the
popped.
little
He went
guys
to
get
jail.
popped.
No,
the
no.
little ones.
No. The head of Balco went to jail. I had him on the podcast after he got out of jail.
What about the owners that knew it was going? What about the agents and lawyers that are supplying their stuff?
No. Listen, you don't understand about the baseball thing.
That's why I say someone like this guy with a long network, there's so many tentacles
Right.
all over the place, but you always need the fall guy.
Right.
I mean, was he the demon? Yeah, but there's a lot of demons there.
Did you see the email that I sent you, Jamie, where he's talking about children for sex? Do you remember, the email I sent you, Jamie? I sent it the other day. I'm like, well, that pretty much sums it up then, because he actually said it.
Oh, yeah.
Find that. I sent it to you in a text message. This one's crazy.
I've heard some
So
bad
he's
ones.
having a conversation with a woman who says that she heard that there's a place. Here it is. She's very emotional, kind, loving, sharp. I think you could become friends too. So here it says, a friend, Eliza, told me about a project she's doing researching a really bad guy that gets children for sex sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so that's just there. There's no way to interpret that any other way. That person is me.
That person is me. I'm the
Children
one.
for sex sent to his island. That person is me. Holy shit. That one is fucking crazy. That's 2018.
So yeah, this has been going on for
So this is like right before he got arrested, right?
supposedly
But when did he get arrested?
2019.
2019, right?
What month?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it was May, maybe.
So this was like,
June?
but there was an investigative reporter that was at the head of all this. This lady that was really pushing because she had found out about his sweetheart deal in 2008, and she started gathering information and pushing it. And that's what led ultimately, I think, to his being arrested.
Or what I would say is the front of like, hey, we're doing things.
Well, if there's a different body that the autopsy had, it makes you question, like, was he ever in that cell? Or was this person who's in that cell, did they sell this person as Jeffrey Epstein?
Right.
Well, you imagine the guy in the cell going, I am not.
No, I'm not. No.
My name is Harvey. I live on the Upper East Side. I don't know what happened. I got a speeding ticket. And now, next thing you know, I can't go home.
Yes, and this poor guy's just getting railed hard before they're sitting there, and he's tying him up on the thing, and he's just, you're going to spin him around for a couple hours.
It is.
But that's blue pill. They took the blue pill.
Is there such thing as a black pill?
Yes.
What
that's
is the
people
black
that think
pill mean?
we're doomed and we're fucked and everything's. They think it's all pedophiles and Satanists are running the government. And then the white pill is people who think everything's going to be great.
Oh. Can I get the white one?
Yeah, the white pill would be a good thing to take, but I don't think it's accurate. I think you want a gray pill. If they should have a gray pill that gets you like, hey, there probably are a bunch of Satanists and pedophiles in positions of high power.
Yeah.
And then there's also probably a real good chance that we'll pull through this and we'll be better than we've ever been before. That's possible. There's a lot of exciting possibility about the future of human beings. And I think the good thing and the bad thing about the internet is the free distribution of information. There's a good thing about it that I try to focus on is that more people have an understanding of how things are really working than ever before.
Yeah.
Like this Epstein file thing, right? That was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. When you see how many people after 2008, after he was arrested, after he went to jail, were actively taking money from him. MIT took money from him and tried to hide it and said make sure that any donations from Jeffrey are listed as anonymous. So you find out like people are like they referred to him as Voldemort, like you couldn't say his name.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested, after he went to jail.
Do you spend a lot of time reading them?
No, I try not to. I try to have experts come on. I try to read. You can't change it.
Yeah.
And it'll fuck with your head.
Yeah, it's
like
toxic.
You will really get.
It'll stick with your. And I know I've tried not to.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of them. I do see things on the news, and I'm not saying, if I don't hear it, that means it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it is such a toxic situation that I think it would be hard to.
It seems very dark.
Very dark.
Because it seems like it was this bizarre blackmail influence thing that was going on for a long time.
So long
time.
Through different administrations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so unbelievable about it.
It's
how
dark.
long it was going on.
I'm in
how
the
many
files
people.
for not going.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
You're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad?
Yeah, but I would have never went anyway. It's like it's not even a possibility that I would ever went.
But
especially after I Googled him. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This was like 2017. One of my guests was trying to get me to meet him. I was like, bitch, are you high? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
For what reason would you? What would be...
If I was a guy who was like sucking up to the rich and powerful, if I was really interested in hanging out with rich and powerful people.
You know, it's crazy. That's so crazy. But yeah, some people...
Some people get intoxicated by being in a circle of rich and powerful people, even if they're not, like, they don't even have any ambitions of being one of those people. They just want to be around them. They want to be around Nobel Prize winners. And because this guy what he was doing was very clever in that he was getting all of these very powerful and very respected people together. Yeah. And you would figure like, it's
if that
safe.
guy's there, if that lady's
Clinton's
there.
here. This is fine.
Right.
Clinton's here. How could this be bad?
Yeah.
Look, it's Steven Pinker. How could this be bad?
Yeah.
You know, he's a genius. Like, and so you would go, I would imagine, you would go to these, because there's people that went to these, like he had parties in New York, like he brought in celebrities and comedians. Didn't Louis Black get invited to one of those? I think he's talked about it. I know Chelsea Handler went to one of them. It's like he would bring all these people in, and he'd like to be around famous people and entertainers and a lot of intellectuals and professors. And Noam Chomsky was famously deeply involved. So it's like you would go, I guess, to these places, and that was how he would convince everybody that everything's going to be fine. Like, have you ever been invited to a party and someone will tell you, hey, you should go to this party. Brad Pitt's going to be there. Like, they'll tell you that to try to get you to go.
Right.
They'll tell you about the famous people that are going to be there. Like,
I don't know. I should go.
I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It is weird. Some people are really driven by that, really love the parties and the invitations.
And blindly ambitious, right?
Yeah.
They're willing to like put aside, all the possibilities of what could be awful about these people and get together with them without even a cursory Google search as to who you're hanging out
You can't
with.
have your assistant Google something.
How about you just do it? Just go,
It doesn't take long.
like, hey, look what I just found out. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's more bizarre is that there's probably in this. I talked to Mike Benz about this. He was like explaining how this guy rose to prominence and how he got this kind of influence that he had, and he was like, "There's probably a bunch of those going on right now that we don't know about."
What people that are
Like that, like
Of
a
course,
same sort
yeah.
of Jeffrey Epstein type situation, just someone else and
Well, I mean,
doing it
it's-
somewhere else, and they just haven't been caught yet.
Yeah. It's
Like
just-
if he didn't get arrested, let's think about this.
Yeah.
Because his particular perversion, the darkness of it, was that he was into underage girls. He was into young girls. Imagine if he wasn't. What if he was only into girls that are in their 30s? Like, you would have never heard anything about it. What if he just hired these adult ladies to come to these parties that were already sex workers? Would
Right.
you have heard anything about this?
I know.
And that's the thing. Like, is that happening right now?
Right.
Did you hear about how this started in 2005? I think this is
No, but
accurate.
I'm glad you're
What?
saying that because I'm.
This is crazy.
Two girls fighting.
So
High
it
school.
started
After a
between
fight.
a fight between two teenage girls at Royal Palm Beach High School in Florida. Here are the details of how the event triggered the investigation. Early 2005, two girls at Royal Palm Beach High School got into a fight during which one girl repeatedly called the other girl a prostitute or hooker. Following the fight, school administrations and parents investigated, searching one of the girls' purses and finding $300 in cash. The confession. The student initially claimed the money was from working at a fast food restaurant, but later revealed she had been paid for massages by a wealthy man, later identified as Jeffrey Epstein. This revelation led to a police investigation in March of 2005 when the stepmother of one of the girls reported the molestation to the Palm Beach police. Wow.
Wow, that's in 2005.
That was the first arrest.
And now listen to this. It says they identify the Royal Palm Beach High was identified as a focal point for recruitment, where, according to investigations, at least 15 students were lured into Epstein's Palm Beach home. Holy shit.
That's so crazy.
Now
That's
imagine
in
if those-
2005.
Imagine if those girls didn't get in that fight. Imagine if that didn't
Wow.
happen.
Yeah.
It's dark.
It's dark.
Yeah, but if that guy was not into that, if he was not into high school girls,
Right.
like if he was just into grown women who were sex workers and he ran the same operation exactly the same way, it could probably go on to this day.
Yeah.
And if everybody kept their fucking mouth shut, and if all these guys, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. I mean, look at
According
look
to
at
the
some
FBI
people that
today,
are in the.
There was nothing going on, so.
oh, FBI concluded Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a sex trafficking ring for powerful men. File show.
So there you go.
Oh, there you go. Who says that?
Wow.
What's that source?
Yeah, it's going around I just found the place that was showing the headline. It was going around the internet today. I
Oh,
think the AP
today?
report- Yeah, the AP. It's the AP reporting it. Yeah.
Today. Oh, I thought that was. I thought that was from
this
2005.
today. This is like the FBI stating
I was
it
like,
today.
oh,
No, it's
that's
today.
That's the gaslightiest gaslighting shit I've ever heard in my life.
Whoa.
What do they think is going on? Just a bunch of fun, bunch of guys hanging out,
That is.
being fellas, having cocktails, talking
They
about
say
science.
They're still looking into it, but they don't have any evidence. of
Oh,
that.
look into it. Maybe we should get Eddie Bravo on the case.
Looking into it. That is
Name of his show.
crazy.
Look into it. It's so crazy. But there's probably a lot of that that's gone on
yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
And it's also probably a way that they can secure business deals and make sure that people do things they want to do. They have a little something over them. They do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
This is what. Yeah. I mean, and that's what Epstein was all about, was manipulating people and holding it over their head, getting them to do something.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It certainly seems like that. Certainly seems like that was a big part of it.
I mean, is it possible that people didn't know what was going on?
Maybe initially.
Yeah.
If someone got lured in like they tried to lure me in and they didn't do a Google search, and also they're meeting with this eccentric billionaire supposedly who's just not politically correct.
And the Epstein stuff coming out now is, we'll see what happens with that. But
well, you guys were talking right before the podcast. Jamie said there was a big dump. What happened with the big dump?
Big dump?
You said there was a big dump today and they fucked up? That was your take. They fucked up?
The fuck up was that people have found out that the redactions weren't really redacted.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's a big mistake. Like you can copy and paste and put it in another document and see the redactions.
Oh, like a Photoshop deal?
Yeah.
Like you could get the layers away?
yeah.
Oh, whoopsies. That's what happens. You get fucking people working for the government that are dorks.
Then, which is like, this is like
That's a
steps
big
to
deal.
this. If you're,
Yeah.
I wasn't following it all, but the Department of Justice has tweeted a couple interesting things today, starting with this one 8 hours ago. So it's like 6 a.m. or something.
Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims.
Some of those documents have been deleted now.
Okay, so they're saying that 30,000 more pages of documents, and some of them contain untrue and sensational claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election, right? But by who?
That's people are just sort of taking it as a grain of salt, saying like, "What?" So nobody else. It's all.
It's only Trump.
Untrue about Trump.
Right.
Nothing. Nobody else.
All the Bill Clinton photos were definitely
The other
him
one
with,
was.
come
this
on.
Picture came out of a letter that seems to be a potential suicide note written by Epstein, written to Larry Nassar. The facts of that were strange. There's a postmark, which is 3 or 4 days after he died.
Wait a minute. Larry Nassar.
Yeah, he was also in jail.
He's the Olympic guy?
Yeah.
The doctor that was a pedophile?
Yeah, and it's like a letter writing like, hey, I know you know why I'm in jail. I know why you're in jail.
Boy. That
Yeah.
seems weird that he's writing a letter
He
to
says
a
he's taking the
pedophile.
short
Yeah,
route.
and like that
Yeah.
starts off saying, if you've gotten this, I took the, in quotes, short route out, which,
Short route home, right?
yeah. But there's some weird detail. People are, like they said, they're saying this is fake or maybe fake.
Did they
just
get a
tweeted this
handwriting
30 minutes
expert
ago.
to analyze it yet?
Appearing doesn't, that's, I started asking the questions like, well, then why did it come out?
Oh, so the FBI, it says the FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar is fake. Fake in all caps. Trump wrote that. He gets busted by the use
fake
of all
letter.
caps. Fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. The fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. Well, this is how they probably should have done it from the beginning, right? Release all material.
Yeah.
And then refute whatever you say is fake. And you say, okay, it didn't have his inmate number. It's not his handwriting. It's fake. It was 3 days after his death. It was postmarked from Virginia. He was in New York.
But don't make it
It's
look
fake.
like you're covering it up. Just
Right. Release it
although
and
I
say
will
it's
say,
fake.
I have seen on Twitter people complaining about like they're not meant to censor anything due to embarrassment. But when it's like Ghislaine Maxwell's boobs, they will censor it out. And people go, this has been illegally censored. You must,
Yeah,
by
I
the
need to
law
s-
of the United States, show me her boobs.
I need to see them areolas.
Is she? She's in prison in Texas.
She's in, you can kind of call it prison. She does yoga, plays cards, hangs out.
Is she allowed to talk to people?
I don't think so. She's not allowed to podcast, I'm sure, if that's what you're getting at.
I am. That would be a really exciting podcast.
If everybody wants to die, that would be a really good podcast.
I think she's just a nice, normal lady.
Do you think Trump on the way out pardons her?
She's a nice woman. I wish her well. I don't know. It's
The weird thing is she's in jail for sex trafficking to who?
Epstein.
Right.
No, but was it
To
for
him?
that?
From him?
I think it was 16-year-olds
Just to him?
in Florida, and it was directly to him. I was
Right.
briefly, I experimented with being like a non-Epstein believer.
Really?
Yeah, for about 2 weeks.
What
I
did
thought,
you think was going on?
I was like, maybe he's just a pervert who liked getting back rubs from 16-year-olds, and he had famous friends. Because everyone was like, he's Mossad, he's CIA.
What do you think now?
Yeah, he's obviously something. It's way. I just thought everyone in the green room was saying he's Mossad. I was like, I could be. Maybe the controversial thing would be to not believe there's
Take the
conspiracy.
contrarian position.
I just wanted to experiment with the contrarian position, and it's getting harder and harder to hold that.
Yeah, it
together.
seems like the more they dig into his past, the more it feels like he was part of some sort of intelligence agency.
Or like channeling offshore money for people.
Mm-hmm. How about the fact that he just got a slap on the wrist during the first case when he caught a case, and then whoever it was the prosecutor or the judge was told that he was intelligence.
There was and then someone. I listened to a podcast on it from like some from Matthew Schmitz, who's Compact magazine, and they were making out that it was an anti-Semitic plot to say that Epstein was secret intelligence, and it's genuinely, although I don't agree with them, it was one of the best put together podcasts I'd heard. And
Look at this suicide watch observation lot. 2:15 a.m. Inmate states his cellmate tried to kill him.
Inmate sitting on bed trying
He
to
later
remember.
retracted it, saying he has no idea what happened, but there's pictures of him showing his wounds and stuff. I think he also said he woke up and didn't know where those wounds came from.
Oh, so that's the guy too, by the
Yeah.
way. You know that. That's
There's
the
pictures
cellmate,
of his
the
wounds.
giant dude. Oh, so the cellmate beat the fuck out of him.
His hands were swollen. I think it said his ankles or feet were swollen too.
Oh, so the guy tried to grab his neck and choke him.
But they said they investigated. They didn't find anything.
Found no evidence of foul play. I didn't do nothing. He says he didn't do nothing. I don't know what to tell you. You're okay. Get back in jail, you pedophile. That's probably what they did. But the guy probably tried to kill him. I mean, he looks like a guy that would try to kill you, and he was definitely a murderer.
Yeah, if you're in a jail cell with a pedophile, I don't think that's unusual to try and kill that guy.
Also, you're a big giant guy who's in jail for murdering 4 drug dealers, and you're a cop. Like,
I don't know.
I was always saying that you could get him to kill that guy for like a pack of cigarettes.
If
That
you're in
guy's gonna
jail
be
for
in jail
life.
for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
forever, for sure. And you can give him like awesome special treatment if you wax Jeffrey Epstein.
Man, I was really trying. I tried so hard. I went on podcasts trying to say he
Did
wasn't.
you?
Yeah. I wish I hadn't. I just thought it was a cool like bucking back against the grain thing to say. And I was saying he was charismatic.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't famous people want to hang out with this charismatic
good
man?
point. Or innocent.
I think Ridley Scott knows things and Cormac McCarthy know things about the world that they put on film before everything was known. Like, I think if that movie was released today, people would be like, yeah, that's what's happening today.
Yeah.
And so, they're putting people in sulfuric acid into milk, into drums.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And shipping them around the world, as a joke.
That's in the film?
Yeah, there's all
Well,
sorts.
did you see the thing in the Epstein files?
Oh yeah, like
They
those
ordered-
Epstein files. In fact, I can't believe that. Like, everybody just kind of like, oh, well, okay, and they're moving on with their lives. Did you see that guy at the Atlanta airport flipping out, the well-dressed black dude who just freaks out in the Atlanta just like a couple of days ago? I saw it on YouTube, and I saw it on Twitter or X, and this guy's just freaking out in the Atlanta airport. He's like, I read the Epstein files. Like, all of you're going about your lives like nothing's happening. Look, you're all zombies. And he's right. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everybody is just numb to everything. Like, dudes, we had a global pandemic, aliens, all these like revelations. People are, eating babies. Here's
the guy?
Files have been released, and all of y'all are acting normal. All of y'all.
And there's a longer version of that where he's basically like, you're all acting like nothing's happening. Like, what the fuck? You're all just pretending you're just drones going on in your normal
people are
lives.
waiting for a condensed version that lays out all the facts. It's the people that are like really interested in reading all the emails.
I think the Luciferians cast a spell on the world. And,
For real?
Oh, absolutely. It's just like how vampires can't go into a house unless they're invited. They tell you, what's going on ahead of time. It's predictive programming. And once you say it out loud and you put it out there and make fun of it and do a little skit like Stephen Colbert did a little skit on his show where, oh, here's a baby. I'm going to take this baby and I'm going to give it to Moloch. And he goes into like a cloudy red, furnace and hands the baby over. And he's, oh, the baby's going to be fine. And they make a joke about it and the audience laughs. Okay, we're all now conditioned to it. We've all seen it. And by laughing at it,
wait a minute.
we're complicit.
You think that's on purpose, that this is like some sort of a grand design to get us to be desensitized to the idea of demons eating babies?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
For sure. And
who do you
by the
think-
way,
but it's
nobody's doing anything about it. We know
Okay.
what's happening.
But that has to take, there has to be a person or some group of people.
Yeah, like
that is-
about 8,500 people. Yeah.
that are manipulating the Colbert Show?
They're manipulating everything. It's all an illusion. Like, reality as we know it is fake. That's the revelation that guy is having. And he's looking around and he's like, it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, the thing about the emails is, one of the things is it's just stuff written down. And so that's sort of hard to digest. Like, what is this? Like, what are they saying? Like, some of it is in code, like walking over beef jerky, like talking about jerky. Could you walk beef jerky over to this person? Like, what does that
For
mean?
all this pizza they're talking about,
Right.
you never see any pizza.
Right. Yeah. They're ordering pizza.
I'm going to get some grape soda. It's like with my cheese pizza.
Yeah.
And like there's all this coded language and everyone's like, oh, that's you just have pareola. You're just seeing things where you want to see them.
No, this is clearly a code. Well, that was the thing about
it's
Pizzagate.
absolutely a code. And in fact, mundus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur. It's a long-known concept. And so in Latin, mundus vult decipi means the world wants to be deceived. Ergo decipiatur. Therefore, it is. We want to be deceived. We don't want to believe the horrors that are actually behind the veil.
Well, I think with the Epstein files, people are, because of these emails that have been released, people are just now starting to be aware of the bizarreness of the code and some of the things, like the facts. Like, let's just talk about the sulfuric acid. So this was like right after he was indicted in 2018.
Yeah, I got to get rid of some bodies.
Yeah.
I got
How much did
dissolve up some bodies.
What did it say he ordered? Like, let's
Like 8,000 gallons.
Half dozen 55
maybe we can
gallon
get our
containers.
sponsor Perplexity to process this and give us a synopsis of what exactly happened, some sort of a breakdown. Because one of the things they're saying is like he was indicted, and then right after he's indicted, he orders how many gallons?
6 55-gallon containers full of sulfuric acid.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. What?
They're eating babies, man. Like that's
Do you think so that you think is real? So
Well, yeah. Not only that, I think that there's sacrifices going on every day in Los Angeles. I mean, allegedly, like high level musicians, let's say, high level female musician is like killing chickens every day, doing sacrifices, like
high level.
Well, I don't want
You
to
don't
say. I don't
the
want to say
name?
names because I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to be dead either.
What does it rhyme like?
Here's the purchase order. I start looking at the comments for some stuff. Not that this is the best answer, but a quick answer someone gives is that this could be for like a reverse osmosis water treatment system.
It's true. He is on an island.
He's on an
I mean,
island.
there's enough pushback because mundus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur. but like the timing of all of that,
sure,
like,
yeah.
where are the purchase orders for all of that sulfuric acid before then? Oh, no, I just want to put sulfuric acid into my swimming pool, muriatic acid.
Well, that's the question. Was there orders for sulfuric acid before this? If they do have a water treatment plant, how does sulfuric acid play into water treatment?
It says it here. It says it's commonly used. This explains it. I don't fucking know.
Okay. It says RO plant, reverse osmosis seawater desalination facility. Sulfuric acid is commonly used in the maintenance of such facilities. Not everything you don't understand adds up to the worst possible thing it could be. Deception.
Look, maybe they're all eating pizza and grape soda.
Who is that guy that's
How
saying
many
this?
billionaires do you know that
That's
sit down and eat lots of pizza and grape soda and ice cream?
This is weird.
And
There's a trial
I'm gonna
lawyer
get me
who's
some
saying
chicken.
this.
I just that's why I just go with grain of salt. This is just a plausible answer. I don't know that it is the answer. It could even be wrong.
Okay,
but-
so does he have a desalination plant on the island?
Oh, it's a reverse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
osmosis.
He is.
I don't know if it's-
He had
yeah.
everything. He had a
Reverse
dump and
osmosis,
like they had all sorts of stuff.
So
Tunnels and
so they were using that. So they were taking seawater and converting it into fresh water for what? For irrigation or for drinking? For all the above?
One similar email that he wrote to someone said that like around his island is like Damascus, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? He was like, you go explore buried shit around my island, or what? I mean, what else could he mean by that?
Huh? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I mean,
A lot of things you don't
they
know
say
what
a
they
lot of things, and they're not really coding it very much.
Well, the code, it's glaringly obvious when they say pizza and when they say jerky. That's
Yeah.
glaringly
Listen,
obvious.
last time
How
I
do you
would-
walk jerky?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
It's not
why
like-
do I need a chilled container to,
Right.
A chilled bag or whatever they say?
Jesus Christ.
And
So you think they're eating babies?
oh yeah, I absolutely believe that.
You should get together with Kurt Metzger. You two would go crazy.
I don't doubt it for a second.
Well,
I think this dates back like a long time. This is Moloch worship.
Well, there was the other email that said, "Thank you for the torture video. I enjoyed the torture video."
Yeah, and it's like people just they
But
don't
that is
they
so-
don't want to accept it. Like
But
people
that one
don't
is the
want to believe it. They
craziest.
don't want to accept it.
Okay, some commentary notes that a remote island with water treatment and energy systems could plausibly stockpile such quantities for 1 to 2 years of operations, although others argue that using it directly for reverse osmosis, as stated in one social post, is technically questionable for membrane health. Highly corrosive, strong mineral acid that can severely burn skin, eyes, dehydrate, and char organic material, which is why it features in both legitimate industrial processes and in darker hypotheticals online.
Darker hypotheticals.
Darker hypotheticals is where I'm leaning.
Yeah.
When you get indicted for sex trafficking and then you order 6 drums of sulfuric acid right away, are you really worried about your reverse osmosis plant right after you get indicted? I feel like you're going to
If it
jail.
looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
It's probably a duck.
Given Jeffrey Epstein's involvement in the BCCI network, given Jeffrey's involvement in the 1990s with all the foreign policy activities happening in the Middle East at that time, given Jeffrey Epstein's involvement through the early 2000s Clinton era and everything, given his involvement in everything from Israeli to Saudi to British to French high-level government officials, Jeffrey Epstein was investigated by the SEC in the 1980s. He was one of the 2 people who ran the biggest Ponzi scheme in history at the time in the United States, the Towers financial collapse. Epstein's business partner goes to jail for like 30 years or 20 years or whatever. But Epstein skates completely free. Epstein gets involved in this huge fraud in the U.S. Virgin Islands with this, like $1 billion fraud case in the U.S. Virgin Islands, never prosecuted for any of it. Why is that? Well, one is, he may have, we know in the U.S. Virgin Islands case, he was sponsoring the campaigns, basically, of the politicians there. The prosecutors answer to the politicians. Could be that. But I would be shocked if they're in 40 years of this Where's Waldo, Forrest Gump, he's always in the room, in 40 years of American foreign policy and intelligence activity, money sourcing for that, for all the crimes that Epstein committed, the concern was the same one they had with Rolando Masfer. don't bring the case, and if you do, bring it in a highly limited way. And that's exactly what happened in 2006, the first time he was indicted. Everybody was up in arms that it was a sweetheart plea deal. It gave protection to all co-conspirators, known and unknown. And it was swooped in quickly before there was a trial in full, so that lines of evidence couldn't be opened about the network.
It's just crazy that statutory rape is what took it all down, right? Because it's underage hand jobs, right? That's what took it all down.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be what took Jeffrey Epstein down.
Kind of crazy.
Even that has a really interesting geopolitical history. There was a similar scandal in the early 2000s with a private military contractor called Dine Corp, which again runs through this Adnan Khashoggi kind of Middle Eastern network. Dine Corp got in trouble for trafficking, facilitating the traffic. It was a major U.S. military and CIA contractor for logistics and institutional support and military assistance on the ground for the U.S. military all over the world. They got in trouble basically trafficking underage kids to Middle Eastern sheikhs. And I believe in the early 2000s, and I believe the reason that was alleged by Congress that they did that was to juice the deals with them. That basically, these people who were critical. If you're operating on the ground in Kuwait or, pick your Middle Eastern, country, in order to serve your purpose for the U.S. government to be this outside, plausibly deniable, but extensively infrastructured professional support outfit on the ground, you need the support of the local government. You need the support of the local high-level officials. They need to be happy. And there's several currencies for that. There's financial payoffs, and there's other things they might like parties and young women, especially in places where being with the very young female is not illegal. And so what Dine Corp, I believe, got busted doing, and you can look up the Dine Corp scandal here, was doing this. And I believe their argument was, well, you wanted us to do this thing on the ground. You wanted us to help the U.S. military and kind of covert support nodes that were happening here. We had to do it somehow. This is part of what helped us do that. I would not be surprised if the Epstein trafficking apparatus started with similar motivations. Not that it's not necessarily for blackmail, but because it makes clients or customers or VIP people happy. It makes them owe you something. It makes them want to get involved in a deal you do, even if the deal is not one they would ordinarily do, because they just want to stay close to you because you're their supplier of the thing, of their vice, of the thing that they want but can't get. If you're a 70-year-old billionaire, you can't walk into a bar and leave aside the underage thing. You can't walk into a bar, and meet an 18-year-old who's, I presume, these things are facilitated at private parties, and it needs to, for a lot of these guys, it has to be discreet. They've got wives, they've got reputations, and there's an aspect of this that plays out at every institution. I worked at a New York law firm, and there's ways that you can make partner. At least this was kind of the vibe that I felt like. Some people make partner because they're really good technically at what they do. They're just amazing. They're just technical whizzes on the minutia of how to structure a merger or acquisition. They're just really great at structuring an offshore banking transaction, or they just know absolutely everything about tax law. There's some people who move up because of nepotism. They're the brother and they're the son-in-law of a major partner. There's some people who make partner because they brought in one client who's just a really big rainmaker. And there's some people who move up because they open doors to partners while they're associates. They introduce them to someone. They host events. They've got, tickets to exclusive things. And the partners just like being around that person because they get access to that person in a currency that they can't get on their own. And that includes hosting, cool, exotic parties, having, attractive women. I've never been convinced that the central role of the Epstein young girl, in my view, sidebar of the Epstein money laundering story is that it was for blackmail. And part of this is because the moment Jeffrey Epstein officially threatens somebody with blackmail, and that person tells his wife, and that wife tells her friends, and that gets out to somebody else that knows Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's access goes away overnight. That's the sort of thing that even a rumor of that spreading, and nobody else is going to want to do business with them.
So you think people just assume it's blackmail because that is how you would blackmail someone, especially underage girls?
I think it is very possible that there could have been indirect blackmail, meaning Epstein passes it on to an intelligence service, to a corporate espionage client or something, and they use that for their own purposes. But even then, I mean, imagine, for example, if, like on the Bill Gates thing, like there was Bill Gates gets an email, I have a video of you sleeping with this person. And, or somebody much lower level, the moment they send that to the press, if, in order to, they figure they have nothing to lose. I mean, there's not been anybody in the 7 years that's transpired who said, I was personally blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein. I think because the moment you do that, nobody comes to your parties anymore. You lose all the access. You lose all the deal flow. You lose all the goodwill that you've generated because this rumor, people are very risk averse, especially at that level.
Right. But just to have it over their head and never use it, though.
Right. Well, I think that what you could have is, because he does his own nefarious stuff, he could compile it so that if they ever threaten him with something, he's now got something on them. And I've seen some correspondence that, in the files that looks like that might not be an impossible scenario.
Do you think that's how Jeffrey Epstein got in that position in the first place, that they knew he had this kink?
No, not at all. I mean, Adnan Khashoggi had the same thing. Adnan Khashoggi was running around with dozens of young and, apparently underage girls the whole time. I think that Jeffrey Epstein probably learned, how powerful that can be through that network, seeing that's what powerful people do, that gives them something that gets them a lot of local influence and wins them a lot of favor.
That's a very specific illicit desire to want underage people.
Well,
how do you even find out that someone's into that?
Well, I don't think that the majority or anything close to it of the women were technically. I think it was largely
young,
very young, barely legal, so to speak. But and I know that there were cases of underage, but I think
most of it was just
very, very young, but not like
20-year-old,
not
girls,
like 13
18-year-old girls.
type thing. And then remember, because this is an international enterprise, and many of the clients are like, in countries that don't necessarily have the same norms about that that we do. You can very easily see someone getting involved in that just because girls juice deals. And so I don't think that Epstein, I've not seen evidence, and in my view, you don't need any of that to understand the core part of the Epstein story that has relevance to your life today in terms of your own government and the workings of power and corporate finance and the like. But I do think that girls' juice deals and the fact that he had the coolest parties on a private island with the hottest girls is
Also
something
brought
that
in
makes
a lot of intellectuals, stimulating conversations, scientists, all these very interesting people. So that was part of the thing, right? That was the draw.
Try hosting a cool party as a guy with a bad ratio, so to speak.
Sausage party.
With a sausage party. And when you develop a reputation for having attractive women at the parties you host, you become an important person to know in the network, because basically every male has a desire for attractive women, not saying underage, obviously, but that is like a universal biological desire for men to want to be around attractive women.
And what did they do for gay guys?
I have no idea.
Is that a part of the file or the lore?
I've not seen evidence of it, or if I have, I can't recall it offhand. But again,
the whole point is he's throwing these very attractive, cool parties to get all these people together.
But that's what juices deals.
Right.
If you take this scenario, Epstein's running a fund. A donor, a colleague, someone that he'd like to do a favor for, or an intelligence service says, hey, we're trying to get a pipeline built in the Middle East. We need a facilitator to help arrange private outside funding for it, so this thing can be constructed, and it doesn't look like it's coming from the U.S. government, or the U.S. government will provide some sort of loan guarantee or something on it, but we can't raise enough money to do this. It needs to come from the outside, but it would really help American national security, and there's probably something in it for you if you can get this done. Epstein then goes out and says then puts out basically, tries to make contact with people in his network who might be interested in that deal. And then goes out to 5 people. 2 of them are in the space locally. The deal terms look good. They want to do it 100%, no hesitation. And then 2 people say, well, listen, it's a good idea in concept, but I don't know, the risk profile on it looks a little high. This normally would not be something that my team would clear. It's interesting, but it's a little rich for my blood in terms of the risk profile. But Jeffrey Epstein asked them to do it. And Jeffrey Epstein, for the past 3 years of their lives has been the best weekend they've ever had, has made them feel alive again in their mid 50s or 60s, has opened all sorts of other deals for them, and this deal might work out. So I'm afraid that if I say no to Jeffrey Epstein on this deal, I'm not going to get an invite to the next party.